Hi everyone, Trina Phoenix here, and this will be 1.5, and we were getting ready to get into the sacred science from the book of alchemy. So we are beginning chapter 3, and this is called the sacred science. I can't wait to see what this got to say. So here we go. The domain of the individual destiny is controlled by an interplay of many cosmic forces, mainly benign. But in the present world, society, due to mankind's misunderstanding of both earthly and heavenly purposes, these forces have been attuned to other uses, frequencies, chaotic and disintegrating. Wow. So the energies are so out of balance, they've become disintegrating and chaotic. Order out of chaos. Interesting. Alchemy was originally intended to be a means of enriching individual destiny by making available the technique of changing base metals into gold, thereby producing opulence in the affairs of the successful practitioner. The dedication of the early alchemist to cause the ferreting out its secrets was complete, and it was sanctified by the coordination of their minds with the works of their hands. We throw powerful energy out of our hands. I mean powerful energy out of our hands. When you focus it, it's very powerful. I learned how to do these things when I went to school. And I had no idea the things that we could move with our hands. It's profound and it's beautiful. That's why we need to touch each other. The physical contact part produces immediate alchemy. It's profound, just not even touching, but just getting into the field and you touch them. When your light interacts, it has a massive effect on the body, and the brain and chemistry can read it. So, these alchemists pursued their experiments under the duress of persecution led by the entrenched reactionary forces of their day. It is a tribute to their lives and honor that they persisted in the search. Thus they brought forth and bequeathed to humanity the bona fide results of their efforts. As acknowledged scientific achievements and anointed philosophic knowledge to bless the cultures and archives of the world order. The world order. See? There's two world orders, one that's run by dark and one that's run by light. The light forces have always served one agenda. It was to create and protect the Republic of the United States of America. The Republic. Pay attention to that, because it's pretty much why all of this is taking place right now. We are not supposed to be sitting in a democracy. The United States of America is a republic, not a democracy. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to this republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Republic, not a representative democracy. That's why we have an electoral college. This is why everything went wrong. They took our republic away. We were warned of this. Wasn't it Lincoln who said, "Madame, I give you a republic, but whether or not you can keep it is another thing to be seen." It's time to reinstate the Republic of the United States of America. This is a large part of our task of why we're here right now. And we'll get into this a lot more, and you'll understand and see the esoteric meanings that were behind the light workers standing against the dark ones. It's always been the same battle. It's always been the same battle on different levels, in different ways, but consistent throughout. The darkness, they will do anything to keep their power and their control, and they will use force, and they will use death and everything else that they have at their disposal to try to stop and prevent freedom. Freedom. So we came here to install freedom, and the freedom codes will be installed upon this planet, and Gaia will be free. And this is why we came. This isn't bigger than us. This is about freeing the entire consciousness of a planetary being. A planetary being. So, it's a big job. We are up for the task. So, it ought to become increasingly clear to the students of this course that I am determined to bring to your minds and feelings a new sense of freedom. Synchronicities! You just can't make this stuff up. So, okay, that's great. It ought to become increasingly clear to the students of this course that I am determined to bring to your minds and feelings a new sense of freedom. To the wholesome concepts presented herein must indicate to your total being that the key to alchemy that must precede the acquisition of all other keys is the mystery to yourself, to a greater or a lesser degree. This key must be recognized for what it is. For self-mastery is the key to all self-knowledge. It must then be understood and used, at least in part. And you must acknowledge without question that you yourself are the alchemist. It is you who shall determine the design of your creation. Furthermore, you must know yourself as the real self, the eternal, immortal self, and your creation is coming forth from that self. Eighth dimensional quasi-crystal above. Your higher self is programming that crystal, and that crystal is downloading the information into your consciousness and producing your avatar. Your physicality is coming from your higher self. You are a projection from that. So you need to understand who and what you are. You are not your body. You have a body. But you are not your body. So, it may surprise some to learn that seething vortices of humanity's discordant thoughts and feelings daily impose a hypnotic effect upon most everyone upon the earth. These tend to nullify the great concentration of intelligent creative power that is the birthright of every man, woman, and child upon this planet. Though it is consciously employed by far too few. That's what I mean. The Lord always told me. He said I tried to do such powerful things and they just killed me for it. And he's like, and I knew it was going to happen. I was told before I came. He knew that he was going to be killed, but they did not kill him. They thought they did, but they didn't. The three Marys. They saved him because they were very powerful. And they knew how to put his body into stasis through hypnotic suggestion. All they had to do was say a word and he could go into this state. So it was done prior to the crucifixion. There was powerful magic at work here. And this is why he did not die. And he almost still did die. And his physical body was never the same after that. It almost killed him. So he had to rebuild his whole structure too. And we watched him do that. And it was a process. Because just the trauma that we went through as a group watching all of this stuff it was horrible. And like I said, the alchemists and the mystery teachings, the ones that were teaching this knowledge and trying to save it, hide it, preserve it, and keep it going, you knew that you ran the risk of death. It was kind of imminent. So if you took on this role as an Essene, you were pretty much marked for death. So this was like what we knew when this was going on the planet at that time. And it was man, the fear was thick, just like they're trying to create right now. And it's like, if enough of us understood the mastery that Jesus was trying to show, that because see, our development mentally at that point in time, we were still so programmed for worship. It's taken thousands of years for us to come out of that program, because it was a mass program placed upon the human species through the magnetic field of this planet. Part of the amnesia was the worship construct. You get mind wiped, and you're drawn to your own source, and the magnetic pull of that is very potent, and we were trained to believe that was a God being outside of us instead of knowing that it's your higher self. So these worship programs are super deep within our constructs. And even though we were watching the miracles and we were learning these things, they weren't fully being integrated. Just like when they explained how when Peter was walking on the water with Christ, and then he came back into the reality of his humanness, and he got back into the fear vortex. And as soon as that vortex wraps back into you, your density shifts, your vibration shifts. And then he started to sink in the water, and he was like, "Help, Lord." And then the Lord reached his hand out, and he was like, "Oh, ye of little faith." You know, he's like, you were doing it. And then you doubted yourself and you started to sink. But he was like, that was your fear. He was like, I showed you how to overcome, but you let your fear creep back in, and it wiped out all the beautiful frequency that the Christ was emanating for him to resonate and match. Because that's all it is you're matching. You're training. You're literally locking in to each other's vibration. And we automatically love to attrain to the higher vibration. So it's very easy for you to shift into these higher vibrations if you're in alignment with them. You will adopt them instantly. So that's why Peter started to sink, because he was like, this isn't possible. He started thinking about the man construct of the human construct and gravity and all these, programs. So he went back into the human program, his frequency dropped, and he started to sink. And it was because of his own doubt. His own doubt. Ye of little faith. You must hold your belief, and you must hold it strong, and you must know that it is going to manifest, and it will hold you and support you. And you don't falter from that belief and that focus. That's why I said Satan is in the details, and Satan is in the doubt. That's just darkness trying to keep you from your power. And I hate to say it, but I think this is the primary function of the ego. It also has protective qualities, but it also has destructive qualities as well. So, this is the birthright of every man, woman, and child upon the planet, though it is consciously employed by far too few. So this is what Jesus was telling me. He goes, you all can do this, but you just don't believe it yet. He's like, but when you believe it, it will change the world. And then when I was coming into this planet, I was arguing with the Lord. I was like, I do not want to come. He's like, you said you would. And I knew I said I would, because I would come to teach these things and teach people how to connect with their true power. And this is not something that was specific to him. He was a normal human being. He had a heightened vibration. So I guess the best analogy I could use is like he's like an indigo crystal child born 2,000 years ago, but he came in with a very high frequency and in a born like me, a knowing of the higher realms. He just had a knowing of it. He knew. So it was just, but many of the humans, I think through the traumas of the celestial wars and the fall of humanity from angelic into draconian dragon energies, because I literally see that's how it came to be. From the celestial, unseen, invisible realms, we drop down into the matter through the spiral energies of the dragon. So the dragon was our introduction to come to fall into matter. It came in through dragon energies, which are powerful creator gods. Whew, wow. So yeah, we came in through those, but that's how we got into form, through matter. That was what I was shown. And so, like I said, that's why I have a very strong knowing that the Lord and Master Saint Germain, they come from the royal dragon lines, the highest benevolent royal dragon lines. But then there's also the polarity, the opposite attributes of those beings in the polar aspect. So, like I said, even you've got your good and you've got your bad. They're both existing. They're both existing. So you need to integrate them and have full dominion over both parts of you. That's your job. And don't let Satan get into your head. Shoo fly. Don't bother me. So, while we increase the numbers among mankind that seek after freedom, the reactionary elements, either with or without purpose, attempt to burden the race with new shackles. It's exactly what we're seeing. We're coming into an alignment with freedom. We're starting to see all the things that are wrong in the matrix. And then with that birthing of this energy that's coming from us, the dark ones, they hear it too. And they know. And they can perceive this. So now, look what's coming on us. Shackles. Stay at home. Quarantines. All this stuff is happening because of this energy that they feel, and this is very threatening to them, and they cannot stop it. It will not be stopped. So, each time deliverance from one form to another of human bondage will be secured. So every time we try to break free, they're going to try to bind us down a little bit harder. So the alchemist, to be successful, must be consciously aware of this. That's what I mean when you need to know the dark and you need to know the light. You need to see the picture before you can see the solution. So you need to know both parts. What's going on both sides. This is a duality reality, so we need to be aware of both poles, both polarities, to understand the fullness of that creation. So, okay, so we will be the alchemist, to be successful, must be consciously aware of his God-given freedom to create. Those restrictions and restraints imposed upon the soul as forms of human bondage must be shunned. Yet, in every case, these must be distinguished from the necessary laws which do structure society. Beauty and righteousness must be emblazoned upon the left and the right hand to remind the would-be alchemist of his responsibility to God and to man to behold. His works we will see, and before releasing them, to see that they are indeed good, and good for all mankind. I am releasing in these studies, in alchemy, methods of visualization which will give the students who will apply them, as I did, the ability to perform for God and man in service of the first magnitude. Ooh, first power. Blu-ray God. I trust that the myth of the human equality will be dispelled, and that in the dignity of equal opportunity, the evolutions of this planetary home will come to know the love and the expansive potential of Christ in all. Thus, forging ahead of humanity will be marked by a greater malleability of the soul and less ignorance of man's universal purpose to develop his individual talents than to hitherto existed on earth. So we will come into a oneness. Through our separate talents, we will operate as the Christ, as one family, one group, one focus. As the early alchemists attained a measure of success in probing the secrets of the universe, they became acutely aware of the need to band together and to withhold from the public eye certain discoveries which they had made. A number of religious orders and secret societies grew out of this need. The remnants thereof have survived to this present day. The need to repress as well as to express was recognized, just as the enlightened men of today realize that harmony in the social order and among the nations, and the eradication of the causes of war and civil strife would remove all reasons for withholding any knowledge that would prove to be universally beneficial. Let me declare, because I can speak in the light of truth and knowledge, that certainly the early alchemists were not nearly so unsuccessful as history would have men believe. Their discoveries were legion, and they included knowledge of both secular and religious, scientific and philosophic. Above all, they unlocked many truths, which at a later date will be made general knowledge. Let not the world discount all of the stories that have been recounted of the suppression, of the invention, and the new ideas for economic and political reasons. When it suited their purposes, men in high places have ever so often instructed their hirelings to keep secret the very knowledge which belongs to the ages, and which is the heritage of the people of all nations. Regardless of such dishonorable dealings, the masters of wisdom will never transfer this knowledge to mankind until the alchemy of reason heals the international breach of selfishness within enough of the race that the torch of knowledge may be everlastingly held in the selfless and hand of justice. I am preparing your minds in these first 3 lessons to better assimilate the full release of the wisdom's flame that has been made a part of this course. It is frequently the despair of men that they did not have a certain choice bit of knowledge long before it came into their hands. This feeling is certainly understandable, but no lamentation that is without constructive leadings is ever desirable. It is preferable that men perceive now of the present as God's hour, rather than the folded parchments of past ages. The fading hieroglyphs of yesterday's errors can neither confute the present truth, nor act as a panacea to heal their unfortunate sowings. They serve only as a media of contrast to amplify the present sense of gratitude that glories in such progress as now manifest, to dispel the ignorance of former times. A determination, dedication to use these energies of today to open the doorway into a domain of the future is expected of the student of alchemy. Therefore, let him see to it that his present expansion of the science of alchemy is sufficient to transform the base qualities of the human nature into an altar on which the flame of the living reality will fire the grandeur of the golden age that we are now emerging into within the Christ mind. Let his endeavors likewise be sufficient to balance the travails of world injustice, and let him work to secure for posterity's eras of increasingly abundant progress, enlightenment, happiness, and universal spirituality. When used by the alchemists, the symbols and the symbology, properly understood, are literally charged with meaning. For example, Mercury is the symbol of speed and interprets to the consciousness the thought of wakeful, reverent alertness, which is swiftly endows the chemistry of action with the intensity of application. So Mercury is a deliverer. It delivers the message. It delivers the inspiration. It's the mover. It makes you alert. It's swift. It's chemistry of intense application. It is of speed. It is of consciousness, thought, of wakeful, reverent alertness. That's beautiful. Those are your attributes of Mercury. Salt equates with the idea of selfhood and reminds mankind of the need to have the self retain the savor of its divine source. Salt, ye are of the salts of the earth. So retain the savor of its divine source, in preference to the crystallization of identity within the Sodom Gomorrah of materiality indicated in the historical figure of Lot's wife. Don't look back, you'll turn to stone. She looked back, and she turned to stone. Fire as life. It is the catalyst which can be increased from the cosmic light within the cosmic rays in order to intensify, purify the radiance of life itself in its contemplated design. Moreover, the consciousness invocation of life makes all of the alchemists' manifestations doubly secure. Fire, fire. I'm triple fire in my zodiac. Manifest. Then we have earth. Earth symbolizes the natural crystalline densities created out of spirit's energies and sustained by the beings of the elemental kingdoms. These are your divas and all of the elementals. Fairies, all of them, Sasquatch, unicorns, dragons, elementals, nymphs, fire sprites, all of them. These tiny creators, in their mimicry of the human discord, have transferred to nature mankind's inharmonious patterns. Yeah, nature spirits are crying right now. They're crying out to us. They need healing. This is a big part of what we need to do, is we've got to work with the elementals and the divas and send them the Ho'oponopono. I am so sorry. Please forgive me. I love you and thank you for all you do for all of nature. Thank you. So we need to work on that together as a group. That's going to be really important. Thus, the convergence of human error upon the planet body came forth as a thorn, a thistle, insect, a beast of prey, and the Pandora's box of astral forms was opened by a laggard civilization whose misguided free will and selfishness have perverted life's energy even on the other systems of the worlds. I have seen this. This crap is going up into the higher dimensions, and we fix it here. It has to be fixed here. This, I said, this is the biggest battle we will ever face, and it is the biggest one ever worth fighting for, because this will change not only our world, but it'll change many others. So, guys, this is a big task, and it is one we can do. It is this discord imposed upon the very atoms of the substance which the alchemist must remove from his laboratory before he can create. If this dross, which is the alchemist, will purify it by fire, it will be done. I do not expect that every reader will immediately understand all of the concepts that are included in this course. While it is true that I advocate simplicity in the phrasing of the basic laws of God, I am also aware that thought forms worded in the higher order will be productive of greater good as the world is able to accept them. I therefore include herein elements designed to challenge those of every level of awareness to study, to show themselves approved unto the God flame within. Thus, individual alchemical advancements will be achieved by all who faithfully apply the teachings. The most insidious types of bondage is that in which the prisoner is not aware of his chains. I am certain that the real science of alchemy can serve to set free everyone on earth who will accept it. Therefore, out of respect for its supreme purpose, I consider it to be the sacred science. Remember, blessed children of men, that the purpose of this true science should be to increase happiness and to free the race from every outer condition that does not serve to exalt man into the pristine greatness of his original cosmic purpose. All postulations, whether of social, economic, religion, or scientific nature, should be infused with the freedom which allows men to progress. All who attempt to lead mankind's progressivity forward in these fields should admit to the possibility of change without in any way challenging those infallible pinions of the human spirit referred to as life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Certainly, the opportunities for progress and the freedom to innovate cannot affect the immutability of divine truth or the integrity of the Logos, whose power uttereth speech from those untrammeled heights to which we join and jointly aspire. I am progressively yours in the holy science, Saint Germain. So that is the sacred science. And next we will read Chapter 4, Dare to Do. Much love. See you on the next one. Have a blessed day, because you are the best.